Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Top Rope Renegades Wrestling Podcast show. Today we have the WWE Raw results from March 25th, 2024 from Chicago, Illinois, and it was a highly anticipated Monday Night Raw. We are 2 weeks away from WrestleMania, and the build-up for this show was fantastic. The return of CM Punk, some amazing matches were put out to the public for us to get ready to enjoy on Monday Night Raw. Before we get into things, I am Kurt, joined by RK. RK, what were you looking forward to the most coming into Monday Night Raw?
I mean, you know me being the huge CM Punk fan, I'm always looking forward to see CM Punk talk on the mic, do what he does best. We're getting to that home stretch. They're really going to have to tighten things up, get them all ready for the WrestleMania matches. Just overall looking forward to how they get things rolling towards, WrestleMania. They've been killing it lately. I mean, they're selling out shows left and right. They're on top of their game. Everything is coming together. It's really been an exciting time to be watching wrestling, so I love it all.
Boy, have they been on fire, and it did not stop in Chicago. The very first thing we get to see when Raw opens up is CM Punk arriving at the arena earlier in the day. They give us a little Cody Roman recap from SmackDown last week that we went over, and Cody opens up the show to just do the usual. Hey, Chicago, what do you want to talk about? And then he brings up Roman on Pat McAfee's show, which I watched live. Then he gives a little flowers to Pat and Michael Cole. And it's kind of, and before we get into what happens after, the thing I really noticed is there's been a lot of emphasis on the tag team match. And I was really hoping we would get just Cody talking to Roman Reigns. And he kind of did this here, and he told him he hates him. Overall, what did you think of Cody's segment here?
Overall, I thought it was really well done. He came out, he looks ready. I love the fact that and this goes back to what you were talking about in the Slammy Awards there. He's a man of the people. He talked about the bachelor party he's going to and the 5-year-old's birthday party that he's going to and sending a wrestling club to WrestleMania both nights.
Yep.
I mean, the guy, and he wants nothing in return. He just wants to be that guy. And he might be the best ambassador the WWE has right now because he's killing it in the ring. He's doing it all, and I just love what I'm seeing from Cody Rhodes right now. And it's wild because 8 years ago, this guy was Stardust, and now he's the biggest thing in wrestling. It's awesome. I love to see it.
So then Cody asks the Chicago crowd if they'll do him a favor and point at the WrestleMania sign with him. Cody does his Bullet Club hand gesture, points at the sign, and then surprise, surprise, the final boss, The Rock. His music hits, and the crowd, of course, goes crazy. It doesn't matter if it's heel Rock. The crowd is going to pop massively for The Rock. He walks down and just stares at Cody. The crowd chanting, "This is awesome. Holy shit." A CM Punk chant. Obviously, we're in Chicago. No words are exchanged on the mic, and Cody just whispered something The Rock whispered something in Cody's ear, and Cody looked a little taken back, and it was the lip reading thing. And I read it as, when it happened, I think he said, tonight, I will pay you back, or your payback, or something along those lines, right?
Yeah, I read similar thing along the lines of I'm going to make you pay.
Yeah.
It was surprising. The Rock wasn't announced to be on Raw tonight. He showed up. I mean, he's showing up more than Roman Reigns.
It's crazy.
That's wild.
It's honestly crazy.
This is Mr. Hollywood. This is a guy that's busy 365 days a year, and he's making time for the WWE Universe to further along this story and this great match we have coming up at WrestleMania. And your honest opinion, the tag match, who comes out of that?
We'll obviously do a predictions video, but I think in my opinion, with all of the buildup we're getting for this, I think Rock and Roman come out on top to have night two main event be basically anything goes. I understand bloodline rules, but that means anything goes. And I think everybody's painted the picture, at least some people have, of, and we got the stare down on SmackDown last week, is it's almost like a Marvel cinematic universe deal here. It's like the face off, the Avengers, Cody's Avengers versus Roman, Thanos and his minions. I think we're gonna get something like that on night two to finish off WrestleMania. So I think Rock and Roman are gonna win on Saturday, but I could be wrong. It's very unpredictable because I do want just a singles match between the two, truly a straight up singles match.
Yeah,
But I
no,
don't know.
for sure. Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, I can't see any way that the second night is just a clean, straight match. Maybe it will be. I mean, but this is Roman Reigns we're talking about, and I think it just adds that element of how's this all going to go down? Like,
Mm-hmm.
if the bloodline's there, is Cody going to have anybody with him? Who are those people that are going to be with him? I mean, Seth is going to be busy with Drew. Like, it just sets up for so much that could happen. And I'm honestly, I just think it's going to be an amazing weekend of wrestling. So I can't wait for that to happen.
It's going to be a fantastic just week of wrestling, Monday through Sunday, and I can't wait. Looking forward to it. This, after The Rock leaves the ring, we get a little build up to the first match of the night. The Judgment Day lounge talking and mommy, and if you didn't see social media over the weekend, she sure made a lot of headlines by giving Nia Jax a stink face, and it looked fantastic, and that's all I will say regarding that. Go look it up in your free time. But they said, hey, Ricochet keeps beating us. JD, get the win tonight. So we have Ricochet versus JD McDonough, and this was my match of the night. That was the best match. It just was so good, and it showcased how good Ricochet and JD are. If you haven't watched things outside of WWE with these two, they are fantastic. What was your takeaway from this match?
Takeaway from the match, great match. I mean, it's Ricochet, and I'm very impressed with JD. I mean,
Mhm.
we recently watched that. Oh, refresh my memory. It was JD versus.
I don't think we can say that individual's name anymore. It's been blackballed from the wrestling community, but it was a fantastic
That's
match in
fair.
Ireland.
That's fair. But yeah, the OTT
Yeah,
match, and yeah, they killed it. And that was really the first time I saw JD look amazing in the ring. I think he might be a little underutilized in the WWE. But overall, they both put on a wicked match. I mean,
and I'm not scared for saying the name. It is Jordan. It was Jordan Devlin, where that's JD Jordan Devlin versus David Starr.
yes, that's it.
David Starr had a lot of potential. He was really over on the Indies, and some things happened, and now he is retired from wrestling. So sucks,
Yeah,
and it
it,
happens. People are can't put yourself in those situations if you're a professional wrestler. We see it all the time. So
no,
that
absolutely. If
was
you're
that
in the
match.
public eye,
Yep,
I mean, you just can't be doing those things. Period. But
yep, yep. So that was
that
a
was
match.
really the first time I saw JD like
Yep.
kill it, and now I just want to see more JD because I think he puts on amazing matches. And tonight against Ricochet, amazing match. Both of them phenomenal athletes, pull off some crazy moves. That re- poison rhino, as you call it, I still call it a Frankenstein or whatever it was from the top rope. Absolutely insane. Loved it. Great match. And also,
The
gotta say, Rhea Ripley. I don't think she's gonna be in Judgment Day much longer. This
Yeah, I think she can go solo. My favorite move from that match was JD was going for the Devil Inside, his finisher, and then Ricochet held onto his arm and reversed it into a Canadian Destroyer. That was a fantastic
just
spot.
insane. I mean,
It
so
was
good.
it was WWE saying we have Will Ospreay at home.
That's fair. He also did the backflip off of JD McDonough as well, just like we've seen
Yep,
Osprey do
the
a million times over.
the backflip up to the step of Enzuigiri was fantastic. Ricochet is amazing in the ring, and he deserves a big push. Ricochet did end up getting the win because Dominic did get ejected from ringside after helping JD out. And then we get a shot of CM Punk holding a Big shout out to my Chicago Cubs championship belt, and they say, hey, he is up next. But before we get to the CM Punk segment, did want to give they did do another promo for the documentary for Bray Wyatt coming in April 1st, which we'll be watching. We talked about it a little bit, but just on this episode, man, I'm really looking forward to that Bray documentary.
Yeah, I read some tweets over the weekend. Triple H obviously put out that tweet about how great of a mind Bray Wyatt was, and some of the comments on it saying, the WWE didn't use him correctly, and maybe that's true. But I just feel if Bray Wyatt had the chance that I believe Triple H would have given him today, that Triple H has full control of the creative, I think Bray Wyatt, all those images in his head of what he wanted to be and the stories he wanted told could have got told, and it's so unfortunate we'll never get to see those stories, because what we have seen from Bray Wyatt over his career, it was, some of it worked, some of it didn't, but the stuff that worked, it was just so good.
Yeah, it sucked. His final match was the SummerSlam match against LA Knight, which had the Uncle Howdy was there as well, and who knows what we were going to get coming out of that. It sucks. Gone too soon. Wyndham Rotunda, Bray Wyatt. Documentary coming out April 1st on Peacock. Gonna be a watch. Gonna be a tearjerker. And hopefully everybody watches that, enjoys it, and I think next year Bray Wyatt, WWE Hall of Fame, most likely, much deserved. And going from there, we get a little shot of main event Jey Uso, and then they do announce, as you said when we started, another TV show sell out the 11th straight for SmackDown and Raw on the build to WrestleMania. Just shows how many how many people are watching, how many eyes are on the build to WrestleMania. It's going to be fantastic. And then we hear Cult of Personality, and here comes CM Punk.
CM Punk, man, every time he comes out, the crowd goes nuts. And they're in Chicago, so it's going to be that extra addition being a Chicago boy. But when he goes down and goes to look at his watch, and he goes, and then the whole crowd,
Bobber in time. Incredibly gets in the ring, gets the mic after the CM Punk chants die down, and then he just goes on and he talks. Everyone asking, will he be at Mania? He says, of course. He's not 100%. He's not cleared, but hey, his mouth still works, as we know. He is the best when it comes to the mic. Some people suggested maybe you referee a match, and then maybe he'd probably be an impartial referee, and then he name drops quite a few people here. So here's the rundown. He name drops Roman Reigns. Roman Reigns had a lot to say on Pat McAfee's show. He said, don't worry, we'll cross paths soon. He name drops Seth Rollins, having a lot to say about him. Then he goes, The Rock hasn't oddly had anything to say about him. And maybe that's because The Rock remembers his arms are too short to box with God. What a line.
Oh, yeah, CM Punk at his greatest. He just throwing back to, I destroyed you, Rock. I'm better than you on the mic. I'm the best in the world. I'm God. And when he's on the mic, he truly is. Nobody can touch him. He's on another level when he speaks on the mic. I mean, you're captivated. You're watching him. You're listening to every word that he says, because you're just waiting for that time where he just drops the holy shit. He just said that moment. And we got a couple of those tonight, and it's just like, he's still the best at it. It's so good.
We will get to those holy shit moments here right now, because he name drops, of course, Drew McIntyre and says, hey, when I have an issue with someone, I'd rather handle it face to face. Here comes Drew's music. He hits. He starts walking down. Punk yells at the production crew, cut his stupid song off, and then tells Drew to get his bitch ass in the ring. Drew continuously doing his own thing, saying, I dreamt for this moment. And he keeps on walking, rips off his shirt to reveal another shirt, taking a shot at Punk. And then Punk's line was, I've never had to put another man's name on my shirt to sell it, which I thought was fantastic. Tells Punk he's supposed to be straight edge, but he spends all his time in rehab. Pretty good line from Drew. And then Punk just continuously saying, "Get in the ring." Speaking to my good ear, sits on the desk. Punk laid down in the ring, saying, come get in here, come get in here." Then the best line I think from this was when Drew mentions the chosen one comes up and Punk asks, "Who gave you that nickname? Go ahead, say where'd you get that nickname? Say it. If you got balls, say it." We know who gave him that nickname. And Drew wasn't gonna say it. I just thought that was that was CM Punk at his best, blurring the lines. I don't know if it's we know wrestling scripted, but I don't know if that was on script or off script because it's CM Punk and I can never tell.
Yeah, with CM Punk, you're never quite sure. He's well known for taking matters into his own hands, going into business for himself. He loves to be right on that edge of properness, if that's a way you
Mm-hmm.
can say it. He loves just seeing how far you can push it before people say, "Hey, man." And I love him for it. I want him to keep pushing those lines, keep blurring those lines, making everybody question: is CM Punk changed, or is he still the same CM Punk he always was? And it's not a bad thing if he has changed to be a better um, role model to wrestlers and being a better locker room guy.
Mm-hmm.
I've never bought into all those stories that maybe he wasn't always the one to blame, but
Right.
I just love the fact that he still has that edginess to him, and you're just never quite sure if he's taking a shot at somebody or if it's all work.
That's the Chicago in CM Punk for sure. And then it's not over. Because here comes the World Heavyweight Champion, Seth Rollins, down to the ring, welcomes everybody to Monday Night Rollins, and he tells Punk straight up in his face, "You can't make decisions about the World Heavyweight Championship when you're not in it." And said, "Neither of you wanted to ask me." And then he asked the crowd what they think CM Punk should do. Should he be on commentary? And it was kind of split. And then he asked him, should he be the guest referee? And the crowd cheered. And Rollins was like, "Well, his arm's injured. His counting arm is injured." And the Punk drops down on the mat and counts with his healthy arm.
Yeah, I think he can count just fine.
Mm-hmm. And then he says he's pretty sure he wouldn't be able to be objective in the ring with these two quote unquote dipshits. And Rollins said, "Go ahead and do commentary. I love the idea of you having to narrate my greatest moment." And the Punk Rollins, I can't wait for that match to eventually happen. It's gonna happen. And then Punk says this fantastic line of, "I'm gonna do something that McIntyre's stupid pyro and sword and Rollins bell bottoms and his wife couldn't." And that is to make both of them interesting on commentary. So it is confirmed CM Punk will be the guest commentator for the World Heavyweight Championship match at WrestleMania. That'll be Sunday night 2. You looking forward to Punk on commentary?
Yes, I am, because I can't imagine it's just going to be commentary. It's Punk. Something else is up. I mean, obviously he can't wrestle with that
Mm-hmm.
arm, but maybe he can still be doing something else. I can't imagine it just being commentary. How that ends up looking, it's Punk.
Mm-hmm.
He's going to make himself
I
relevant to the whole thing.
I really want Punk to do commentary. Like if you remember when he did it in his wrestling trunks, and he just had a tie or something on. I think that'd be fucking hilarious if he did that. I don't think he
Oh, yeah.
will. He'll probably be in some sweats or whatever. But that wraps up that. The wrap up is Seth walking, not even acknowledging Punk, just walking right past him. Seth versus CM Punk. Book it. I can't wait. Seth versus Drew McIntyre. Obviously, can't wait. CM Punk versus anybody is going to be fantastic. I'm it's the sooner he gets healthy and 100%, the better, because we're going to come out of WrestleMania, and then a few months after that, it's CM Punk back in action, and it's just going to be balls to the walls until a year from now when we're back on the road to WrestleMania. I cannot wait. Before we get to the next match, I popped a little bit for this. I'm a big fan of hip hop. Meek Mill's one of my favorite rappers. He's going to be in WrestleMania in Philadelphia. It's his home city, so it'll be pretty cool to see Meek Mill. I'm sure he'll probably be performing or something. But have we had musical performances at WrestleMania in a while? I can't remember.
Not well. No, we have. Rhea Ripley had "This Is My Brutality" done live.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. No, we have had musical performances. None that have stood out maybe as big as Meek Mill though.
I
So that should
re-
be.
I really do hope Paramore comes for Bailey though. That'll be fantastic.
I hope so. Paramore is an awesome band. And I think they'll just add another element to Bailey's entrance there and kind of the whole WrestleMania feel. The
Uh,
grandioseness of it.
Yeah. Then the next match, I'll move through this one pretty quick. It was a quick match. Ivy Nile versus Candice LeRae. It was just a little quick back and forth. LeRae at one point sent Ivy out the ring, hit Maxine Dupree, who was ringside, and then Candice faked an injury in the corner, rolled up Ivy Nile with her feet on the ropes for the win. And the whole story here was Candice LeRae's gone full heel, and Indy Hartwell is not impressed with it. Candice gets the win. Indy's upset with her. It's short, simple, but we're still building Candice LeRae as being a bad guy now.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't really have much more to add to that.
Yeah.
I understand what they're trying to do with it. I thought it fell flat. I thought it didn't really do much of anything.
Mm.
Um, I don't know. I wasn't a huge fan of it. I just don't think it was executed very well. It might be. It seems like they were under time constraints at this point, so
Yeah,
maybe
100%.
some stuff got cut from it, but it just didn't feel like a lot was accomplished with what they were trying to accomplish.
Up next, New Day DIY and R-Truth and The Miz having a little conversation about the upcoming ladder match. The usual comedy part, but the thing I wanted to point out here, and you laughed at me hysterically while we were watching this live, because I looked in the back and I said, "Is that Drew McIntyre talking to Paul Heyman?" And before you could even, or you kind of started to answer, and then I answered my own question, was like, "Oh my God, that's Drew McIntyre talking to Paul Heyman in the background of this shot." I answered my own question so emphatically, but it set the seats. It set the seats for later in the night.
Dude, do you see Drew McIntyre and Paul Heyman? Yes, I did. Do you see Drew? I'm like, yes, dude. I see. I'm not answering myself.
I was like, I hear you, I hear you, I hear you.
Yeah, I see Drew talking to Paul.
The next,
Yeah, they've been doing that a
yeah.
lot lately. Those little background, if you're not paying attention, you might not see it, but
Big
it's
fan.
cool little additions. It's
Mhm.
all foreshadowing towards something when they're doing that.
Before we get to the next match, it just made me think of this camera shot we were talking about with Heyman and McIntyre in the back. Just to go back to real quick, the Ricochet JD match, there was the camera shot we kept talking about where they just kept the same camera shot, and it was a lower angle and it was kind of more zoomed in. They're trying some new stuff with the camera shots, and I like it. I do like the way things are kind of going now. And as I told you, watching and learning, the person that took over for Kevin Dunn was a sports producer director. So he's kind of bringing this sports element into it.
Yeah, it was a cool shot, and I noticed it instantly because they were sitting at the one corner of the ring, and then they kind of just panned around the corner of the ring to the other corner, and they just stood there, and then they went back. And I was like, that's just one continuous shot, and it gave a
Mhm.
really cool angle of the match, and it just adds a different element. It is really cool seeing all the things being switched up in WWE these days. They're trying to become they're trying to create their own identity.
Mhm.
And we probably all have a pretty good reason as to why that
Yep.
is.
Just,
But yeah, it does definitely feel like it's leaning towards this is Triple H's show now.
the next match on the card, New Day taking on DIY. Figured it was gonna be a good match, and it was just more like a warm up match for what we're gonna get at WrestleMania. The match it started off, it was good, it was going good, and we knew there was something afoot after Damian said he had plans. The Judgment Day make their way down and just beat down the New Day and DIY. No contest, obviously. The best part of this, if you go back and watch, is R-Truth and The Miz are on commentary, and R-Truth is very committed to the fact that he's just doing commentary. He's not going to get in a fight. Miz is like, all right, I guess we're doing commentary, and then The Miz does get involved. He gets hit with a choke slam, and Truth, standing on his word, he's like, I'm just doing commentary. That is it. And he eventually does get picked up by the Judgment Day. Razor's Edge, coup de grace, Judgment Day, standing strong with one more Raw left until WrestleMania.
Yes, that was R-Truth is the dude's on fire. This might be the best stuff of his career, and he legitimately thought Pat McAfee was JBL. He, the stuff that they're coming up with for him is, I love it. It's wild.
I don't know if it's the stuff they're coming up with him or they're just saying truth, be you.
Just do you. And whatever it is, it's working because I just want to see R-Truth on every show doing something ridiculous. I mean, DIY is DX. I mean, JBL is Pat McAfee is whoever he wants. Just let him live in his world. I'm loving it.
We get to the back. Jackie Redman talking to Cody Rhodes, asking him, what did The Rock tell you in the ring? And Cody says, I'm not going to repeat it, but it's a promise that The Rock cannot keep. And then that was it. We moved along. Kathy Kelly talking to the ring general, Gunther, about Sammy. And Gunther just says, he's not even going to beat Bronson Reed tonight. He can't beat me. So that was just the build-up towards the Zayn and Bronson Reed match later. Simple stuff there. And then we get the singles match. It was supposed to be Andrade versus Ivar. Ivar not medically cleared to compete. Instead, Andrade will be taking on Giovanni Vinci. And right off the hop, and you said it, there were some stiff shots here.
Yeah, that's some New Japan shit there. I mean, you brought it up, and is their mics picking up different, or are they just going a little bit stiff? Like,
son of those chops.
Like they're stiff, and we all know. Like you go back and you talk to you guys and you listen to stuff about matches in the past. Guys like RVD and Kurt Angle, they like to have stiff matches. They just had rules: don't punch me in the nose, don't punch me in the ear. But other than that, it's fair game. And maybe Giovanni Vinci and Andrade just like to have a stiff match. I don't know, but it looked good, and I felt the pain of those chops, man. And it does add a certain element to the match where you're just like, oh, I don't know why you're doing that.
You said it during the match, like it's not a quote unquote squash match because Vinci is established enough. It was a good, hard hitting match that really showcased Andrade from the moonsault to outside of the ring to the double moonsault, the one off the top rope where he misses and then keeps on rolling. The cross body block, the double knees in the corner. Then the finish was the hard chop to Andrade into the spinning elbow, and then his finisher, which is called the message for the win. A win for Andrade. And I won't mention it when we get to that point, but there was a moment where we had a backstage shot. Andrade was talking to Dirty Dom. That's been a thing that the Judgment Day has been keeping their eye on Andrade. So that's just something to look forward to later on down the road. Up next, the Women's World Champion Rhea Ripley and Dirty Dominic Mysterio make their way down to the ring. And it was the promo is just Rhea asking for a certain someone to give her some attention. It says Becky Lynch has not been giving her enough attention. She's fighting every other person during the weeks and not giving her the respect or the attention. So she demanded it. She gives the mic, of course, to Dom, and Dom gets drowned out by booze.
As per usual, I mean, the kid's got nuclear heat, and he feeds into it. I mean, wrestlers love it. The worst thing for wrestlers is get no reaction. So either you want that baby face reaction or you want that heel reaction. And right now, he gets the most heat I've ever heard anybody ever get it. It's amazing.
The only word we get to hear come out of Dominic's mouth without getting drowned out by booze is all he says is Becky, and then Becky Lynch's music hits. Perfect timing for that. Becky comes out and they argue about what it means to be a champion. Because Rhea was all over social media with her ass out, and that's her version of being a champion. Well, Becky's version is fighting every week. Rhea calls her a cockroach because it's hard to kill her, but not impossible. And then we have the moment where Ripley says that when she's done with Becky Lynch, Lynch will get to sit on the couch with her daughter Rue, and Rue can call Rhea Ripley mommy, and Becky Lynch loses it.
Yes, wild spot. I mean, bringing up family members of your opponent is a classic heel tactic.
Yeah,
They're trying to make people not like Rhea. They're trying to make her feel, but
yeah.
she is still over. I don't think she can do anything that is going to change the reaction of the crowd for her. She still gets the pop every time she comes out.
She's gonna have to cost Cody Rhodes the title or something to get
Yeah,
heat
like I
because
mean that didn't do it. The crowd was cheering for Rhea on that
mm,
one. I mean, and that's about as a dirty
yeah,
tactic as you can
when
get as a heel. So
she said it wasn't the crowd didn't turn it into a boo. They just went the usual when you hear one of those lines you go oh, but then it didn't. Normally when a heel does something like you're like oh shit they said that and then it turns into boos. Not with Rhea.
no.
So it's it's Rhea Ripley, it's Becky Lynch. It's going to be a fantastic match. And you think, okay, well, they're going to have to come to blows because Becky's pissed. And she punches Dominic Mysterio square in the jaw, which we see later in the Pat Vision slowdown. She connected with that punch.
As soon as I saw that punch, I'm like, holy crap! What did Dom do to you? That was a punch. That was there was no pulling on that one. That connected.
And then
And
yeah,
as they kept on going, I mean,
yep,
Dom took it two more times. I mean,
yep.
everybody's picking on Dom. It's awesome.
Dom, just the usual baby, just getting the shit beat out of him. Turns into a brawl. They got to be separated. We are on the road to WrestleMania, and we're building it just like that. Really,
I gotta say, I am glad they did that because Rhea was right. There hadn't been a lot of talk between Becky and Rhea since the Elimination
no.
Chamber, and I'm like, they need to
We
build it up. They need that animosity between the two of them.
which
So they did that today.
they did build it, but they built it before the match was even official. Where
Yes.
Becky's cutting a promo, and then finally her and Rhea are in the ring together, and it's I hope you win the Elimination Chamber. And Becky saying I have to face you at WrestleMania because I have to know that I'm better than you. This was before she even won the Chamber match, and then after the Chamber, she's like, I gotta finish business with Nia. She's gotta have a match with Liv Morgan because Liv Morgan interrupted her. And then finally, we have one Raw left, and they finally have come to blows. So we got one Raw next week. We'll see what happens there, and then it is WrestleMania, which should be an absolute fantastic match between those two. Cannot wait for that. And then we see Chad Gable talking to Maxine Dupree, and Sami Zayn walks by, and it's just another conversation where Zayn's like, you didn't think I could beat Gunther, and now Gunther doesn't think I can beat Bronson Reed. And Gable's like, this is what you're doing wrong. You're so focused on Gunther this, Gunther that. Focus on the task at hand and tell Sammy, get your head out of your ass. I was like, all right. Chad Gable is Coach Gable is what I'm going to start calling him. Coach Chad Gable.
I think they're trying to keep Gable relevant in this. We talked about it. Is this somehow going to be turned into Sammy asking Gable for help with Gunther? Maybe
Yep.
a handicap match at WrestleMania. Who knows? We all know the finish of that gauntlet match. It's questionable if Gable's shoulders were actually down.
Yeah.
Somehow, I think Gable's going to be involved with this right up until WrestleMania, even WrestleMania into the match. How that turns out, I'm not sure, but I just feel like this is just keeping Gable relevant during the rivalry for that Intercontinental Champion.
So then Sammy does get his match with Bronson Reed. It's a pretty good match that has Gunther come out and distract Sammy. And this was the big thing that Chad said is like, don't let him get in your head. Don't let him distract you. Well, Sammy looks for the haluva kick. He gets distracted by Gunther and kind of like mimics at him, whatever. And then Bronson Reed reverses it. Clothesline, tsunami, 1, 2, 3. Sami Zayn takes the loss to Big Bronson Reed. And Chad was right. Gunther is playing him like a fiddle. And we will get more to that in just a second because before we get to another conversation between Sammy and Chad, we see main event Jey Uso talking about Shinsuke Nakamura. And look who is on Raw. Solo, Sikoa, and Jimmy Uso planting the seeds, like you said while we were watching.
Yeah, it's obvious that they're there for a reason. I mean, you got
Something's
The
happening.
Rock there, showed up unannounced. You got Solo and Jimmy there unannounced. Jay has a big match coming up against Shinsuke. Rock said, "Hey, I got something for you tonight." To
Yep.
Cody, like
Payback tonight,
something's
yeah.
something's up. Like they wouldn't all be there if there wasn't something being planned, and it's just a huge foreshadowing to
Mm-hmm.
what happens later in the night as we find out.
Mm-hmm.
And it's good storytelling. Like I keep going back to this, but they're just on fire right now. They can't miss with what they're doing.
Yep, and they continue to build the story after that with Sami Zayn, Gunther, and Chad Gable, where Sammy's just venting to Chad about I let him get in my head. I don't know what to do. There's seeds of doubt, blah blah blah. And Chad says, "Listen, you can't let him get in your head. You need a different approach. If you want to talk, then we can talk and take things in a different. We can find a different approach. So." We'll see where that leads. Like I said, I keep saying it. One Raw left. That is next week. Maybe we will get some sort of Gable Zane coaching session, whatever. Sami Zayn joined the Alpha Academy.
A workout montage. You got
There
you
you
got
go.
Otis going, "Give me two more,
They said
two
they said
more."
Cody was going to be painted as Rocky. Nope, it's Sami Zayn. They're going to do all the workout stuff. Right before the main event starts, Jey Uso's about to go out. Seth comes up and says, "Man, something doesn't feel right, but me and Cody got your back. Good luck." Jay goes down. Shinsuke Nakamura goes down. And I said when it started, with all the seeds that have been planted from The Rock being there to Paul Heyman talking to Drew, Jimmy and Solo showing up, that I didn't feel like this match was going to be much of anything. A couple moves here and there from Shinsuke and Jay. And then here we go. It all pops off. Jimmy and Solo appear. Here come Cody and Seth to even it up. Drew shows up, takes out Seth Rollins with the Future Shock DDT. Jay ends up reversing a Nakamura sleeper, super kick, spear for the win, and we still got a lot of time left. Jey Uso gets the win, so good for him. And then the brawl consumes. We go backstage. Cody and Jimmy. Cody dispatches Jimmy, and then Solo goes after him. And okay, Cody's got the upper hand on Solo, and then The Rock blindsides Cody Rhodes and sends him into a trash can and let the beatdown begin.
Yeah, totally saw that coming. I mean,
Yeah.
obviously with the foreshadowing, it was written right on the wall there. But I mean, as soon as Cody and Solo started fighting towards the back, while Seth was working on Jimmy, and then Drew came out, and Jay
Mm-hmm.
was busy with Shinsuke, I'm like, Cody's by himself. This isn't good. The Rock's still lurking around. Something's gonna happen, and
Yep.
sure as shit, something happened. I mean, the cinematic of it, the storytelling of it. I mean, them popping outside, start wrestling in the parking lot. It's raining. It's dark out. I mean, you couldn't ask for a better scene for what was
It's
going down. It kind of like all you needed was the lightning flash in the
right.
background. You know, like
I'm sure they're going
there
to
was a
edit that
moment.
afterwards.
There was a there was a moment there where I thought Rock might toss Cody off that overpass, and I'm like, oh, that's
Yeah,
a
that was
long way
wild.
out. Like I'm
Yeah,
like going, what's going on here? This is it drove. I just love that kind of backstage brawl, attitude era style
that's
storytelling. Like, and then the blood too. Like, I mean,
yes.
it's all coming together. It's gonna be biggest match in WrestleMania history. It's got to be.
So that, as you said, I mean, it was Attitude Era-esque from before they even went out, from multiple trash cans into the side of Cody's head. Uh, Toolbox dumped on Cody. They go outside. You said, "Oh my God, you got to throw him over the overpass." You know, Gacy would be proud of that. And then just the brawl, and then The Rock is just talking shit the entire time. He is the final boss. He brings up Cody's mom, Mama Rhodes this, Mama Rhodes that. Cody is busted open from quote unquote bouncing off the production truck, whatever you want to call it. Big slap to Cody, blood pouring. The rain, like you said, I think was a fantastic effect. And Rock has on that belt. He promised that he was going to hand to Mama Rhodes. He wipes the blood off Cody's head, puts it on the belt, and then he sends Cody crashing into his hauler again. And the show closes with the Rock holding Cody's head and looking into the camera and saying, "Look at what your son has become, Mama Rhodes. Look at what your hero has become." And then we just fade to black. It was one of the most fantastic endings to Monday Night Raw. That, and in this quote that I'm reading from WWE, just speechless about what happened in Monday Night Raw. And whew, we got two SmackDowns and a Raw left. Who knows what's going to happen before WrestleMania weekend? I am beyond excited for what we're getting right now.
Oh, absolutely. You got to expect some sort of retaliation from Cody coming next week on Raw. There's no way Cody lets this slide till WrestleMania. There, just all the different directions they could go with this right now, and then you still got the big match at WrestleMania. They're weaving a story that it's the Bloodline story just continuing and getting bigger. And people may say the Bloodline story is getting stale. It hasn't. They found ways to keep it alive, keep it going. Sami Zayn last year, they got The Rock now this year, and honestly, when we have this story, if CM Punk didn't get injured at Royal Rumble, it's hard to say, but I mean, if that's the case, I'm kind of happy CM Punk got injured, because if we didn't have this story right now, we could be looking at a totally different landscape for WrestleMania.
I am, yeah, saying it is happy is a weird is a different way to put it, but I know what you're saying.
You know what I mean. I'm not saying I'm happy that he tore his tie strap. I'm just saying that
what I'll say is this is a fantastic way that they have diverted from the current plans. They have done a great job of, maybe there was different plans in place because of Punk being there and the injury. They have done a great job of coming around full circle to make things work and compelling and make WrestleMania still feel like it's going to be the biggest WrestleMania of all time, even if the return of CM Punk isn't going to happen. I guess you could say the return of him singles action at WrestleMania. It's still going to be a massive mania.
Absolutely. They pivoted so well, and they pivoted twice. They pivoted from that CM Punk injury, they pivoted from that, and they pivoted from The Rock coming in as, I'm going to save WrestleMania, to actually maybe I need to be the villain of WrestleMania. They're just doing so well. They're feeding off the fans' reactions. They're not trying to shove anything down our throats like they have tried in the past. They're listening to the fans, and they're giving us what we want. And I mean, realistically, that's how it should be, because we're the ones that are watching it. So they should be, to a certain point, trying to cater to what we want.
Well, that is a wrap on the Monday Night Raw recap from March 25th, 2024. That was our first Raw recap on the new YouTube, TikToks page, and all those good things. We're going to keep things rolling with NXT coming up, and then back to AEW Dynamite, and then Friday Night SmackDown, and then we will be full tilt WrestleMania week. We are a week away from the start of it. Can't wait. There's going to be so much stuff to watch and to talk about, and just it's going to be a fantastic. It is, and it's going to be amplified next week. Just to be a professional wrestling fan, I even get to talk to freaking Ruby Soho Friday. Wrestling is fantastic right now. I'm so happy to just talk about it. I mean, we've been doing it forever, and it's cool to do it here with you on a weekly basis, recorded and just put out to the public in hopes that people enjoy what we're talking about. And even if they don't, oh well, we're having fun doing it, and we're gonna keep having fun doing it. Just something extracurricular to do to keep our minds occupied, and that's what professional wrestling has always been to me. Keeps my mind occupied on the crazy world we live in. Wrestling does a great job of just taking my attention away for a while. So, thank you, RK, for doing these episodes. We have done one for Dynamite, SmackDown, and now Raw. We have NXT left to cover, and we will have covered all the big wrestling shows for the week. And then, man, are you ready? Are you ready for WrestleMania week?
I don't know if I'm ready for it, but I'm sure excited for it. It's gonna be a lot of wrestling. We're gonna try to watch as much as we can that week. Try to talk about it as much as we can.
Yep.
It's just turned into a whole week event. It
Mm-hmm.
started from something so small, and now it's like a global phenomenon. All the wrestling companies want to have something going on that
Yep.
week because it's in the spotlight, and we as fans get to just binge on so much wrestling, and that's just what's awesome about it. I love it. Whether it's from the indie scenes or up to the main big time WWE, AEW stuff, it's all fantastic. They're all going to be bringing out their best stuff. It's going to be a great week of wrestling, and honestly, really excited for NXT tomorrow. We're big NXT guys,
Yep.
and
Yep.
we're really going to try to focus on the NXT side of things
Yep.
because they're doing some wonderful things down there. And I mean, I love Shawn Michaels and the stuff that he does.
Mm-hmm.
So, we're really excited to be focusing in on NXT tomorrow and
Yep.
into
In
the
depth.
future and talking about all the up and coming stars that we're going to see in the big
Yes.
show one day. So.
Yep. So hopefully, by the end of WrestleMania Sunday, I think our show could have a star rating next to it, but I don't know what that star rating would be exactly.
Well, I'm not sure about tonight's show. I mean, Raw is easily a 10-star show tonight. It
Yeah,
was
yeah.
phenomenal. But honestly, if we're doing this from the Tokyo Dome, we'd be 5 stars each.
We would be a 5-star podcast if we were in the Tokyo Dome. I love it. I love it. I love it.